Hey guys, it's Eric Phelan with Life on Gaming, and we're here to announce the number one game of the year. Uh, number 10 on our list is Assassin's Creed 4, and Jake's going to take it from here.
So, Assassin's Creed 4, it's not your typical Assassin's Creed game. You actually um, you go through the entire game not as an assassin. You are a pirate who killed a guy and took his assassin clothes. But that's the big
Spoiler.
thing. It happens in the first 5 minutes. But it's like I said, it's pirates meets Assassin's Creed. Your high seas ship battles. I mean, in 3 you had a little bit of that, but in 4 they took it and they ran with it, and they ran with it well. It is the ship battles are pretty great. You actually have to think at some points, especially when going up against legendary ships. But then you also have your occasional land missions, raiding plantation warehouses, um, just
Everything.
overall piracy. It's you're a pirate, and then it throws in that fight with the Templars and every other Assassin's Creed game that there is.
That's what makes it number 10. Number 9 is Saints Row 4, and Pat's going to take it from here.
All right, so Saints Row 4 is probably the most absurd game that has come out this year. Never before in a game have you been able to kick an alien in the nuts so hard they fly into outer space.
You're not going to get that anywhere else, man.
And you haven't even played the game. And I am
have.
only describing it to you. But honestly, Saints Row 4, like, it doesn't try to have the best story or any moral decisions or any of that fancy pants writing. It just is a humorous game that's absurdly fun and addictive to play. Ridiculous weaponry. The dubstep gun is probably the most fun thing to
That sounds
use.
awesome.
You kill enemies with wubs.
And that's what makes it number 9.
I am not done.
Too bad.
Keep going.
We got to run
Fine.
through this. So number 8 is FIFA 14, and Joe's going to take it
Yes,
from
I am the sports specialist here.
That's
true. I love FIFA 14 not only because it is the most popular game in the world, it is a beautifully done game, especially on next-gen consoles. It really revamps what we consider to be like what we consider as atmosphere when we're playing soccer video games. Already the atmosphere is great. When you're actually watching a football match, I say football and I mean soccer.
Football.
Yes, football. And when you're watching a soccer match, you feel so involved, and once that goal goes in, you just want to jump out your seat. Now, when you score a goal in FIFA 14 on the Xbox One or the PS4, it feels exactly the same. Like the only way you can get closer is actually being on the field in my position in my opinion here. So well done game, beautiful. One thing I love especially is that the facial recognition is almost perfect in this game.
And that's really what makes it number 8 on our list. So number 7 on our list is GTA 5, and Joe's also going to talk a little bit on this one.
Yeah. So GTA 5, another one of my favorite games. I do wish this was a little bit higher, but there are tons of more awesome games. GTA 5, beautiful game, huge draw distances in the game, which I felt made the big difference here compared to other free roam games. Sorry, Saints Row 4, but I felt like this game was very beautiful. It modeled Los Angeles very well and made it into this fictional place of Los Santos. And Rockstar Games really did their best when they took their lessons that they learned from Red Dead Redemption and all the previous GTAs, and I want to say even Max Payne 3. they took all those different Rockstar titles and sort of bundled it into this pure ball of awesome called GTA 5. And not only that, but you couldn't ask for better characters written than Trevor, Michael, and somebody say
Franklin.
Franklin, yes.
So number 6 on our list is Pokemon X and Y, and I truly think that this is a very good good position on the list. It wasn't necessarily the best game of the year, but it was pretty high up there. If you remember playing Pokemon as a kid or a young adult, and still love playing Pokemon, this game's for you. It's just the next evolution for Pokemon, and basically you added in new features like sky battles, easier multiplayer functions for universal play. You just basically had the opportunity to have fun with the world of Pokemon, even more so. And the graphics were increased. Overall, sound was upgraded a bit. It was a fun game, and well, games X and Y. And honestly, the new features just made it all the more better. The new Pokemon, everything. And I mean, starting out with multiple starters, that was super fun. So on our list now is number 5, and that's Tomb Raider, and I'm going to let Josh take this.
So I thought this game was brilliant. It was magnificent. It was beautiful. To say the game looked awesome. The aesthetics of the game were very pleasing to the eye. The gameplay was awesome. I thought the integration of a bow as being your main weapon instead of a usual gun was really cool. Not only was your bow the weapon, but it was also a tool. The soundtrack in this game was awesome. It made it that much more immersive. And to hit on the biggest quality of this game and what makes it number 5 on this list is the plot, is the story. I mean, it is an immersive origin story for Laura. And you see her transform from this innocent little girl, not little girl, but from a young woman into a hardened survivor. And I mean, you watch this transformation happen right before your eyes, and it is a very engaging and just awesome game.
Cool. So number 4 on our list is Battlefield 4. And we've talked about this numerous times on other lists that we've had, and it's won several of our other awards. But this game basically was the next step of war simulation, really. And the multiplayer was phenomenal. The interaction with the environment was phenomenal. You could just simply play with friends as a team and actually get stuff done. You actually felt accomplished by the end of most matches, especially if you were actually involving strategy. So Battlefield 4 just took war games to the next level, and it's just an overall super fun and exhilarating game to play. And that's why it made this list. So number 3 on our list is Zelda: Link Between Worlds, and I'm going to let Jake talk on this one.
So we touched on this earlier in family friendly games. Zelda: Link Between Worlds is a sequel to the old game Link to the Past, and it is a great sequel in my opinion. I had very little issues. You play, of course, as Link, set off, and it pretty much starts in the same way as Link to the Past. Is you go to deliver something to someone, and someone gets kidnapped, and it just sends you on this huge quest. And you eventually get taken to the world of Lorule, which is the opposite of Hyrule, which is basically the what if this had happened in Hyrule with the Triforce than what actually did happen. And it's great. One of the best things that Link to the Past had was you didn't have to go through every dungeon in a certain order. It was free roam. You could tackle the water dungeon first, and then the ice dungeon, then the fire dungeon. You could do it in whatever order you pleased, and you didn't have to. The other thing is you were given all the weapons you would normally get from completing those dungeons right off the bat. And you got them by renting them from a guy. You could eventually buy them. But the great thing is if you ever died, he would steal your weapons back and you'd have to go buy them.
Number 2 comes in with BioShock Infinite, and I'm going to let Josh take this one.
So the best thing about BioShock Infinite is the very immersive story. It's beautifully done. It's beautifully written. It's a game that you really cannot set down. The other thing I really liked about this game was its challenge. I thought that 1999 mode was appropriately difficult and gave the game a very good amount of challenge. Taking Elizabeth through her story and watching how she changes as a person is also really cool. And witnessing the same thing with Booker was also really cool to see. The boss battles were really fun. Some of them were very, very, very difficult. But it made for a really good game. And as far as a shooter is concerned, as far like with the weapon combination and the vigors as your powers, it was very well balanced, and it was a fun game to play.
So that leads us to number 1. Now, this list was very difficult for us to compile. We had a few arguments over the order, what should be on this list and whatnot, but it ended up leading us to conclude that The Last of Us earned the best game of the year position, and I'm going to pass it over to Pat to kind of explain why.
So every game on this list is absolutely phenomenal in its own way. FIFA is probably the best sports game that has ever been made. Tomb Raider is an absolutely astonishing reboot. Pokemon does its new stuff. But The Last of Us, the story is beyond comparison in terms of video games. The story of Ellie and Joel is one of the most compelling in media history, I'd say. The story of those two surviving and traveling together and going through hell is just so wonderful. The multiplayer aspect is also really fun. Choosing between fireflies or hunters and doing that is amazing. But where it stands out is its story, not only when you're fighting off zombies and the hunters, but also when you're not fighting and you're just getting to the next place. No action, and it's just character development, and it's the aesthetics and everything about the game is just absolutely beautiful, and it's easily the best game on the PlayStation 3.
Definitely a game to look for in stores, find friends that have it and just play it. So that concludes our award ceremony for the year. We have named the best game of 2013 as The Last of Us, and we hope you agreed with this list. We hope you enjoyed listening in on some of our insights, and we hope you come back throughout this year. We have some exciting events that are going to take place throughout the year where you can win some cool prizes and awards. If you follow us on Twitter and Facebook, we'd appreciate that, and we'll keep you up to date as much as possible. And we hope you have a wonderful new year, and thank you very much for coming. Have a good one, everybody.